Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Thursday Championship here with RCI. Season 11 sees GT4 and TCX classes duking it out in their respective categories. Some names new and old joining us this time around. I'm Austin. Joining us on the broadcast is Christian Stricker, and in the box, Phil Roberts. So, Phil, how's it going? Well, it's been 2 weeks now since we wrapped up season 10. So, how's it going, Phil?
Well, it's a lot less cramped in the comms box this time with no Jesse Lee here, so we haven't gone four wide this time. But yeah, it's not too bad. I'm looking forward to the season. I do like driving these touring cars. To be honest, it's people always say GT4s don't have much traction, or what do you call it, much aero, but these cars certainly don't either. But one thing to point out with these touring cars, obviously, is the tires. I don't think they run exactly the same tires as the GT4s. They tend to burn off quite quickly. You're probably going to end up with just one or two laps of good laps on on one set of tires, and then they'll probably have to change over. But with no tire warmers, just like GT4s, it's going to be a very intense 10 minutes for these TCX cars.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, also Phil, I mean, you've got a bit more. Actually, I say that we actually did do a series like this before with again with Christian on the broadcast, with the GT4 cars as well. One thing I remember from these cars is, in fact, tires. You don't want to use them up too soon straight off the bat, because they do kind of drain away pretty quickly, and it's basically impossible to get them back. So tires is something that's going to be a theme, I think, this series.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, these TCXs certainly have a let's just say, I think they scrub their tires a bit more. Certainly the front, because you end up having to steer a lot more to counteract the fact that you've got no front end. We see Benjamin Howman now come up through the final corner to start his first lap. It's very intense for a TCX car around here, particularly sector one. You end up having to go through these first two turns so fast in these cars, and you're already like putting a lot of strain on the tires already. You're just two corners in, to be honest, let alone after sector one when we crest the hill for the Dunlop curve, which is about 5 or 6 corners time, maybe. It's a bit of a left right section. Stewie, sorry, Benjamin Howman's coming through right now.
Yeah, of course, Benjamin Hellman, of course, our very own Stewie. Does a lot of development work here at RCI, as well as broadcasting, and I think occasionally commentating when the mood takes as well. So, you know, a little bit of RCI love here in the box. Other names to watch out for, obviously, we have Verstappen as well, I think in the GT4 class. Who obviously
TCX as well.
Oh, in the TCXs. Okay, yeah. I am. Oh yeah, of course, Christopher Strappen, number one there as well. So obviously winning the GT4 class last season, once again running in the slightly slower class of the two, much like last season. Yeah, a lot of names to be watching out for.
Yeah, certainly a lot of names as we've been through. There's a few that we can see. Certainly some of the biggest, some other big hitters in GT4, but some of the bigger ones that we usually see, your Verstappens, Heilmans. I think I've just seen down the list Andy Boardman as well.
Yeah, Andy Boardman, your Raphael
Cure. So people we have seen
previously
last season, certainly, who were featured prominently last season. Andy Boardman, obviously, our winner of Porsche Cup last season, or the Porsche Cup class last season. So yeah, certainly some big names for Thursday joining us in TCX and GT4.
Yeah, if you're thinking what I'm thinking, that means we have, we will probably have another close championship battle on our hands as Benjamin comes into the Casio Triangle, the final chicane to round off the lap, and that DHL liveried M2 as we're about to cross the line to set the first of the times for the TCX. Provided there's been no invalidations, of course, crossing the line in a provisional P1, closely followed up by Verstappen, and that is less than a tenth of a second between the two. That's crazy.
Bit of a next day delivery pace from Stewie there with his DHL car, but yeah, Verstappen not too far away. So we move to Andy Boardman, who's I think he's invalidated. I think he's either abandoned or invalidated his lap there, but yeah, he's still got another, say, 2 laps on these tires. before you're gonna have to change. But even then, 15 minutes left. These are all going to come in about 4 minutes time for the GT4. So not enough time probably enough time if you abandon your lap now to start a new one on fresh tyres. But if you've already got your tyres up to temp without tyre warmers, then you might as well just go out again. You might as well just stay out for a bit and just see if you can do something with the tyres you've got. We see Toyin, is it Toyin? I say Toyin. Toyin Anderson, yeah. I've had Christian. Sounds very Nordic to me, that one. And Christian Nordic himself, very quick to correct me in my ear there. But he's coming around the final corner now. Where's this going to put him? Well, it's still got a bit of it. Still feels a bit. Still feels a bit like we're waiting forever sometimes with these cars. And he goes P9, two and a bit second, 2 and a bit, and that puts him second in class behind the man. What's it, Kluppelman? We did this, Austin, didn't we? Just some practice for some of these driver names before the broadcast went out.
That's it. We can practice all we like, though, and we'll still butcher it. I apologize massively. That's the joy of being a commentator sometimes, and in a way, it's great because it goes to show, we're able to race with people from all over the world, to the point where the Neanderthals in the box get a little bit confused sometimes. So if we do say something wrong, don't be afraid to Christian taking offense to that.
He's not happy with that.
It's already starting. Christian's already in our ears.
we can already move swiftly on, and qualifying is a nice opportunity to look at some people's liveries. And Raphael Huel has got a very nice one. I think it's reminiscent of. I'm not sure what car it was. It was
it's the old BMW M1. Yeah, I know exactly which one you mean. The one from the 1970s, the BASF livery. I really like that.
It is a Target logo. That's what.
I suppose it is. Like a Target logo. Again, Christian, you're having a one-sided conversation.
We're having one-sided conversation. We're talking to ourselves again, as Christian's talking in our ear. But Christian asking, it looks like a Target logo. But obviously, I can hear him, and my first reaction is just to quip him, but quip him myself, probably. But moving on. Raphael Huel here coming through the Casio Triangle with the final chicane. I think he may have. Has he validated his lap? I'm not sure if he has or not.
Yeah, he hasn't validated his lap. A little bit of a cut at the end there, I think.
Very, very keen to get through. But, Austin, certainly one thing when we talk about looking after your tyres, but another important thing is keeping it on the track.
That's it. That is it. And sorry, I was a little bit distracted there. The livery behind Raphael there was a little bit traumatizing, actually. I saw the eyes. But yes, Andy Bodman, second place, taking some provisional second from Verstappen. Very, very tight there as well. Again, less than a tenth of a second. Well, far less than a tenth of a second, actually, between the two. 0.220 behind Story to Verstappen's 0.247. So very, very tight between Bodman and Verstappen, which is exactly what we've seen before in the past, and we're about to see it again. Haleman still in provisional pole, though, with a 219.365. I'm not sure if they've actually... No, they will have improved on that, because they were so close behind Verstappen before, so Haleman's found even more time somewhere.
Yeah, probably. It's again, like we were looking... I think these are like touring cars in a way. We talk about last season with the touring cars and the Porsches. No tyre warmers, so these tyres need a good 2 laps to get up to snuff anyway. So Stewie's first time was probably his second lap out on tyres, so with his tyres now up to business pressure, should we say, probably a lot faster than as he could. Business pressures indeed, Christian, yes. Christian's putting me off my game already. Not that I had any to start with, but yeah, so I'd say that's what's happened, Austin. He's obviously had a better tyres to come round for the second go, basically.
I'm going to take a leaf out of Wolf Motorsport's comment and say that with Stewie's delivery with the DHL, you know he's just going to send it. So I think that's all that's happened.
Oh, Christian's getting excited now, and I need to see what's going on. Oh, Daly's half a second up.
Yes!
Daly's half a second up.
Let's go!
Oh, he's ruined it. He's ruined
I
it
remember. I remember Monza again. This exact format, TCX cars and the GT4 I believe it was Daly in the TCX. And it was me, Christian, and Tim Peck in the box, and we just lost it. Lost it at the end. It was an experience, and well, looks like we do it all over again here, Christian. So that's Daly up on their time, heading towards 130R. And I gotta say, I mean, for those that know me, I'm a little bit biased towards delivery. I mean, those colors are pretty spot on.
Oh yeah, I think we've had I think Tom Bryant's in the server at the minute because I just spotted a car's been disqualified from qualifying, which would suggest to me, two cars actually.
Wait, no,
Rob. Hang on, what's going on here now? I think people have been outside outside when they shouldn't be, basically. So I think some people are just abandoning the laps quickly. But just as a completely forgot, as the GT4s come out into the field, should point out very, very organised and for the first race of the season, obviously. That first 10 minutes TCXs. Then there's a minute break, so the TCXs can finish their laps, and then they are expected to teleport back to pits or return to pit lane as fast as they can. And now the last 10 minutes is for GT4s.
That is it, and obviously these cars are the faster ones, so these are the ones to watch. Grimleth, as we're spectating in the Diva Mecha Esports. I can't really read. I believe that's Korean at the start there. And
Grim's told. Yeah, I asked Grim about this before the start of the race, and he said that if you've ever played the first-person shooter Overwatch, the Korean character Diva, that's her name, and I forgot what it was now, like Hannah something or other. I should know, and Grim's going to be very disappointed that I can't remember.
I'm disappointed in you, Phil. I'm joking. I'm really not.
Disappointed in me too. So don't worry, that makes two of us in here.
It's okay. It's okay. It's like at least you're not the one that went to a convention and broke their foot. So that is another thing. So yeah, no, Danny Santo in the 94 Alpine coming towards the hairpin now, and again, these cars no tire warmers, much like the TCX cars. And that's a Mercedes going for a bit of a grass cutting exercise in the background there. I'm not too sure who that was. But
were they all teammates, those Alpines? Because they all look suspiciously similar colours. It was a bit like flying in formation there, Austin.
That was it. It was kind of like, was it Redford and...
Matthew Malcolm, that's it.
That was it. Malcolm and Redford last season, they both had the same livery too. And that was a bit confusing for us too. That's another disqualification, by the way, there. That was...
There's only been two.
I've already been
two. Nine of Rob Franklin and
I only saw
the 17 of a couple now.
Yeah, apologies.
I keep gonna keep ruining his name. I do.
Wait, there's three. There's another one. There's another Alpine that has the same livery just coming over the crest there. So I am getting very confused right now, and
just focus on Mike Redford. Yeah. Wait, he's not in the same thing. What's happening? This is confusing me now, Austin. He's in the Porsche. He's betrayed the Alpines. He's gone in the Porsche this time. That's it. Yeah, Mike Redford comes through the first bits of Suzuka, the little S's through here, and he now comes up this long left-hander Dunlop curve. It's a bit patience, Austin, coming through this corner. You have to time your acceleration spot on to get a good exit through here, and then into the Degners. Degner 1. You're not really sure what you're looking for. You're looking for this curve here, trying to mount that curve, and then you're braking just for Degner 2 as you come underneath the track. I forgot what. I think that's the back straight. As we now come underneath the back straight, turn right and into the hairpin. Braking. He's trying to do like a little V in these cars probably. As Matt Redford just misses the apex coming through here, and I forgot what this one's called now. This is like, it's not 130R, but it's another number.
Yeah,
and it's to do with the radius of the corner or something like that. I think in millimeters or meters, probably not. Meters.
I believe it's in meters.
It's very tight if it was millimeters. Sorry, yes.
That's it. That'd be very, very big number as we come into Spoon, and that sends you straight out towards 130R, the really high speed left and the flick left. And if you've over the years, we've seen a lot of action here at 130R, especially in real life. Notably, was it Alonso's overtake on Michael Schumacher comes to mind on the outside of this corner. It was an unreal move. Really, really fast, really fun corner in any kind of car from Formula 1 to GT3. Hard on the brakes towards Casio Triangle too, so Yeah, that basically completes the lap. There's a little dip coming out of this corner, actually, where you want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to put too much power down because it will spin the rear tires up and it will put you in the wall. It's a little bit nasty, and I found that the hard way myself a few times. But yeah, that's basically a lap of Suzuka.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to point out with the Casio triangle as well. I know we talked about it when Raphael Huel went over the curb. He's surprisingly generous with track limits, particularly on the entry into the Casio triangle. So this first curve here, you can really get a lot of your car over these curves and onto the AstroTurf. I think that's AstroTurf or some cyan coloured texture on the inside of the curve. But as we see, Javier Gonzalez now, he's just coming through to probably set his first valid lap of the session. And oh no, he's not. Never mind. He's routed it somewhere. We're not sure yet. We haven't got our monitor on the guy. So yeah, unfortunately, but he's still got 4 minutes left. That's current pace is about 2 minutes and a bit to get round the track. So certainly enough time for Gonzalez to put in at least 2 laps, maybe 3 if he's really lucky.
No, that is it, and no, the 2 or 3 laps is definitely more than what's needed. If you can just keep the concentration of that Alpine sending it over the Degner there, over the curb again, very very aggressive on the curbs, that Alpine. But then again, these GT4 cars can take it. You know, they are very, they're very compliant with this kind of thing. So. Yeah, no, it's a really very fun track at the best of times, especially in these cars. So Matthew Malcolm looking to set up on their time as well. I can't actually see their delta at the moment, so it's going to be touch and go. I'll find out when you guys find out at the same time as to whether or not they've done enough to top John Areza at the top.
He's very close. He's very close at the minute. He's nearly 4 temps up on his time. He's got an excellent exit from Malcolm through Spoon Curve there. He's done a great late apex through that corner. So he's just got his foot down nice and early, getting the speed through the back straight onto 130R. He's 0.41 temps up, coming from 130R, just blip it down into 4th gear. He is still gaining time. He's coming through the Casio triangle. This will make or break his lap now. He's gonna look how greedy he is. He's still on a valid lap. I think he's just about lost time for that back bit. He's got a bit too greedy with the curve. Austin coming through the final bit. He's 0.43 up. This should be enough for Paulo. Just about.
About to cross the line, and that's that is that's what 100th of a second is that? So
yeah, 100.
That is close at the top. That is very very close at the top, and looking down, the first 7 cars are also within a second of each other, but not as close as that. Wow. That's Matthew Malcolm.
He's still 2 temps up on his time.
There we go. There's still another lap to go, and now there's heat in those tires, so who knows what can happen.
Indeed, the business pressures. We said this before, business pressures, but John Areza at the minute is also not slouching around. I think he's seen how close Matthew Malcolm's got, and he's trying to have a piece of this now. He's nearly a 10th up on his time going through Degner 2 now, and I think he's had a bit of a bad exit through Degner 2. He's now just about fast. He's still faster than his current best, but where's Malcolm now? Hang on, I think Malcolm's messed up somewhere. Yeah, Malcolm's messed up somewhere, but he has got enough time. Malcolm has got enough time. He's just come through the hairpin, just out of shot as John Areza went past us there. So Malcolm's got enough time to put another lap in. Be gentle on these tyres as you just gently get your way around. You don't want to needlessly burn your tyres in qualifying. But John Areza now breaking even, I'd say. He's not. I just had Christine say Christine just said he's invalidated. I just checked. I went, no, he's not.
Well, that's it.
You'll put someone in my ear now.
No, Redford again on a flyer coming down to the Casio triangle now. Again, hard on the brakes, bounce off the curb. The usual sort of business we're seeing, keeping the car stable.
This could be Paul, actually.
This could be quick. I'm not gonna lie. Given the difference in Redford's pace last season to this season, they've really stepped it up. And by stepping it up, here we go, crossing the line. That's in provisional pole. That's again. That's like what, 100th of a second. 100th of a second in front of Areza, who's in turn only 100th of a second behind in front of Malcolm. So
there's
For the
still
top
a
three,
lap for these lot to go as well. Sorry.
there is, Phil, there is, but that's still 200ths of a second separating our top three drivers. That's crazy.
Crazy indeed. Less than half a tenth between each other, as you said. Carlos Calatia is also not too well. I mean, I would say not too far away. I don't think he's setting. I think he may have burned his tires pushing a bit too hard in the last few laps. He's half a second down coming through the finals for the first sector. Sorry, so I don't think Carlos is unfortunately going to have time to do anything about it. Mike Redford just about breaking even. Probably not probably going to see much. John O'Razor's like nearly 2 tenths up on his time coming through sector Degner 2 there, so he may still be a threat. Matthew Malcolm as well, just going through sector 2, Degner 2, sorry, now as you see Grim Lilith's BMW parked up on the side there, nice and out the way. And I think that's. Oh wait, I nearly got excited then. I saw his car teleport in front of Matthew Malcolm and I thought it was John O'Razor. Getting way too excited now, Austin, about this quality.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's squabbling for position at the moment. I mean, again, I don't blame them when the top three is this close. John O'Razor coming out of Spoon Corner now, aligning the car up towards 130, getting on the power as early as you can to try and get the speed up through the corner, through to the fast left. I'm stumbling over my words. Obviously, a little bit difficult corner in the McLaren, actually, isn't it? Because of the way the differential works, how you can't actually set it up. It kind of auto adjusts, and that's how it is in real life as well. It kind of auto adjusts to the driver. So, you kind of just got to hope it does the right thing, especially in the corner like 130R coming down into the Casio Triangle. Again, might be a McLaren, might be a supercar, but very compliant on the curbs. Dropping down the hill now towards the start finish. Have they done enough? They don't have their delta up, so this is going to be as close for me as it is for you guys. And judging by Phil's reaction, it might not quite be enough. It's enough. It's enough. It's still less than a tenth of a second in it between the three. And speaking of Matthew Malcolm, also crossing the line and staying in P3, so it has not improved on that time. So Razor, Redford, Malcolm will be the top three rounding out for qualifying for this session.
And Santo there, P1 in AM at the minute as well, or P1 in AM. Another thing to point out going on there, not John O'Razor, but I was watching Matthew Malcolm come through the Casio Triangle on my other monitor, and he just got just a bit squirrely on exit. He was about 2 tenths up on his time as well. So
no,
very, very. That's what that exactly. That's my reaction when I saw it as well. Austin. So, we go oh no because we want the best for everyone when we watch them. So
that's it. Yeah, I mean that Christian in our ears saying Alpine domination, and it appears to be that way. The top four cars here, as close as it has been, actually not in amateur even, top four cars has been the Alpines. So I wonder if those are all the ones that we saw that were teammates. Quite possibly could be. And in the TCX class cars, you've got Hellman in P1, Boardman P2, Verstappen P3, Daly P4, Year in P5, Jackson P6, Edwards P7, Dauber P8, Raphael Kuehler P9, and Verstraeten rounding out the top 10. So, I mean, that's the closest qualifying session I think we've had in a little while there, Phil.
It's been very close indeed. I mean, it's a bit interesting, really, when you look at it in general, because McLaren, I'd argue, is probably one of the fastest GT4s in a straight line, and Suzuka does have some of those long straights, like the front start finish straight, the back straight are fairly fast as it is, and then the two Porsches behind, bit of a, I'd say, Swiss Army knife sort of car in GT4. It's certainly not the fastest in a straight line, but it's not a slouch through the what do you call it, like through the corners. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how John O'Razor coaches, because some of these times, as you say, some of the times even Carlos Calatia do, by comparison, with 2 tenths off pole is feels far away, but he's not that far away at all. So maybe Carlos is going to have a bit of a say in this as well.
That's it. If the top three cars have a bit of a coming together, they'll be sat waiting further back. We're waiting for that opportunity to kind of strike. So, yeah, this is anybody's race so far. I mean, for a season opener, you can't ask for much more.
It's certainly going to be very fun indeed. Turn one's going to be very, very, very close. Obviously, it's not really one of those ones like, say, your Nürburgring turn ones or anything like that. It's a very fast first corner, so the run down to turn one's going to be very, very interesting, and maybe just a bit close for some drivers. Maybe going to have to be very careful. The amount of speed you have to carry through these corners with these cars through turn one. So we may, hopefully not, but we may see some accidents. Or at least a little bit of contact. Hopefully, it's just going to be limited to little bits of contact, as they Austin.
Hopefully, and as you say, the TCX cars especially, you know, they're touring cars, but let's not give them too much knocking around. You know, it's supposed to be a non-contact sport after all, and I believe the stewarding for the Thursday series is the same format as it's always been. You know, we do have stewarding, but it's post-race stewarding, so nothing coming through live during the race. So, you know, just to keep you guys at home updated there as well. I suppose this is the part of the stream where we'll have just finished usually just to finish the championship standings, but obviously none to really run through. So, Phil, I want to pitch a question to you. What's any drivers you're looking out for this race? Any liveries you're looking out for? I mean, Christian,
there's a car. There's certainly this car here and that car on the right.
I do see.
I've seen this one. Probably going to see a bit more of that maybe later on now.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Christian's doing his absolute best to catch up with the 99 of I think that's Aaron Jackson.
But before we see it
properly, the BMWs are too slow for Christian's drone. He needs to get a turbocharger on that thing.
Oh, I mean,
he could just cheat. He could just cheat and just attach the camera to the car, but. But he's trying to desperately get a name as Aaron Jackson there as we see this car. I wouldn't be yeah, seems to be some merriment going on here at the minute, but yeah, it will probably explain a bit if I get flashed during the race. I'd say during a race now.
I was gonna say it appears we found Phil Roberts' fan club, and it looks like we legitimately have. So no, Phil, we do love Phil. Phil is the best.
But do you love Bunga though? That's the important thing, Austin.
The Unga Bunga. I didn't see the Unga Bunga actually. I was. Oh, I love liveries, and it has been, you know, it's been a blast seeing a lot of the custom ones because, you know, as far as for me commentating goes, I think you know I only had last season to see custom liveries because, you know, we introduced them so recently. So, you know, seeing other people's creations and, you know, good and disturbing at best has been amazing. So, you know, the creativity in the community is definitely something that's amazing to see.
I do like seeing people's creative juices flowing. And another thing to point out as well, at RCI we recently upped the what do you call it, like the livery file size limit. Yeah, so it's not 2 megabytes anymore, it's 4 meg, which doesn't sound like a lot, but believe it or not, there's a lot more you can sneak on a car with an extra 2 megabytes. So
that's it. I mean, yeah, it's what the areas struggle with is compression, and you know, it just means we get to see more creations, which, you know, I am all for. I am all for. And you can see the elevation change there. Spoon really does kind of go downhill, doesn't it? You don't really see it when you're out on track, you know, until you get to this kind of uphill part here. But, you know, you really appreciate just how downhill Spoon Corner actually is. So something you don't often see on a 2D screen. That's nice to know.
Yeah, I think some of it also comes through that right-hander as you come down into Spoon. But yeah, as you say, there's a lot of elevation changes, and because they're so gradual, should we say, you don't really have enough time to appreciate just how, in the simulator certainly, just how much you do change. But,
that's it. I mean,
but yeah,
that's Christian's cam work for you. It's so good, you'll learn new things. So we're getting to the part now where we are starting to go too wide. So from single file to too wide, this race is about to start. As
the first race, I should point out.
That is a very good point. There is a race 1 and a race 2. I believe both half an hour long.
Yeah, they're both half an hour.
Yeah, both half hour long. So
again, very organised here. Very organised tonight.
Yeah, very organised. This is something, you know, we could have gone through sooner, but we'd like to leave it as a surprise. So no, anyway. Enough time for joking, which we've done plenty of. We've laughed, we've smiled, but now we're here to race, and we are going too wide. waiting for the green light. John Areza just inching ahead, and this is the most tense part, I think, for everybody involved, especially the drivers, holding that 70 kilometers per hour limit, waiting for the green, and any moment now, waiting for that green light, and heading towards T1. We've got Areza, Redford, Malcolm. There we go. There's the green light. And looking at things, no one's really made a standout charge towards T1, but that's Malcolm looking on the inside of Redford, and Catalan looking on the outside. A little bit of a tap there, I think we just saw.
Oh, I think there's been an accident at the back. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the my monitor.
Oh god, no, that is a little bit of carnage. You're right. Looking at the track map, that is actually a yellow flag moment. And no, at the front, no real change in direction, no real change in position there. There was a little bit of contact, I think, between Calatayud and Malcolm, but not enough to damage either car or change the order in any meaningful way. That's Malcolm. There we go. There's the curse coming in. There's the bigger contact, which sends Malcolm down the order a little bit. And Calatayud will be overtaken by, I believe that was Santo. So, yeah, I spoke too soon. There was a little bit of carnage at the front in the end, after all.
Yeah, I'd say full credit to Malcolm there to actually keep control of his Porsche. Like, it's not very easy keeping control of the car, particularly through Dunlop on the first lap of a GT4 race. So full credit to Malcolm there for keeping his car nice under the control and in a safe manner, as well as he's under pressure now from I think that's where's my Gonzalez and Bryant behind him there.
That's another accident behind at the hairpin.
Yeah, we'll have see if we can get Christian can grab any replays, but
yeah, there's a lot to go through actually at this point as well. There's a lot to go through. There's the T1 contact and the. There we go, coming into the replays now.
There we go, race replay.
Yeah, so going down into T1 here, that is, I believe that's Hellman just on the inside there a little bit, and that's one of the Porsches being hit, and that's Sebastian Gurn being hit across the track by Andy Boardman. And, obviously, a lot of drivers coming out of that kind of okay, but Stewie being sent down the order at some point there as well. So that's the DHL car you see behind Boardman there, dropping down into, I believe that'll be third place. Daly with a lot of damage on the front end of the car as well, fighting with, I believe, it's either Dauber or Verstappen. Order's a little bit confusing at the moment, but it will settle down.
Yes.
Christian, do you have a...
I was going to say Daly's fighting for Straighten and Dauber at the minute.
Okay.
Yeah. So just bear us in mind that there are two very similar driver names on the track at the minute. So at a glance, we may get them wrong as we watch. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that one, but Adudelo. Well, I think Christian's reminded me in my ear there. But to do apologise if I got it wrong, as he's just gone slightly off the track. Only lost one position, I think, to Carlos Calatayud, but he's not in his class. One thing to point out is, I was going to say Tom Bryant. Tom Bryant's called for a restart because of the crashes on lap 1, so we're probably going to get a red flag in a moment and have a race restart.
Yeah, that was kind of carnage, at least in two parts of the track. I mean, Christian, we've got 3 minutes. Do we have a replay of what happened at the hairpin?
We've had a restart now, so sadly replays don't go beyond that. But maybe we can find Jesse Lee or something while we're waiting, Chris.
I was gonna say we didn't do that. So yeah, for those that haven't seen Thursday Championship before, it's a bit of a tradition when we've got Christian in the box to find a particular Jesse Lee, and as usual, just sits there.
We need to see what's on the back of his neck.
That's it. Jesse, will you show us what's on the back of your head this time?
No.
I don't think. No. He doesn't want us to see. He's not. None of them want to see. I think we've got some attention in the end. Wait. Is Jesse folded in 2 dimensions? I think there's Jesse is folded in 2 dimensions. Jesse, are you okay? Have you been involved in?
Jesse's been folded. He's been folded like a sheet of paper or something.
Have you been involved in an accident in the last 3 years that wasn't your fault?
I didn't realize the I and RCI stood for insurance, to be honest. But,
oh no.
Racing Club Insurance. But
hey, that's a new business venture. We should do that. I have a budget of exactly 5p and some pocket lint. I'm sure that's enough for a startup, right?
That's a good premium for your insurance in RCI now. with RCI insurance, you just need 5p and some. What did you say? Some bubble gum?
Some pocket lint.
Some pocket lint. Wait,
Pocket lint.
what?
Yeah, just do you like when you reach into your pocket, there's just that little bit of fluff in
A
the
little
bottom?
bit of fluff. All right. Okay.
Yeah, pocket lint.
I
It's
never
a
called it
it's a
that.
it's a SpongeBob reference.
Right. Okay. I haven't watched SpongeBob in years.
You're missing out, Phil. You're
I'm
missing
missing out on some good SpongeBob storyline. Okay, I'll take note of that
That's
and
not
watch
something
some
you want to turn.
SpongeBob.
That's not something you want to turn the camera around to. You turn the camera to these eyes staring at you with Aunt Bessie's on the front. I have no idea what that is. I don't know if I want to know
Well,
what
Aunt
that is.
Bessie's. Go to the front again. Because isn't Aunt
Is it
Bessie's like?
Aunt Bessie's? Yeah, they do like
Oh yeah, they're
Yorkshire
the
puddings.
Yorkshire puddings and
And there's
stuff.
a
Yeah.
smash at the bottom, like the smash mash, the spud you like. This is just a potato car. This is great. This is. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say that from the
This
Yeo
is-
spot on the back that's Jan Yeo's car.
I'd call it an incredibly northern car, but Jan will probably hear that and break into the comms box and
Listen,
beat me up.
In the north, you think we're affording Aunt Bessie's? No, we're going as the smart price. Phil.
So we see the other fan club car with Bunga as well on. I think Rob Franken got DQ'd from qualifying because came out in the wrong slot, I believe.
AJ's Lasagna Lounge. I love it. I love it. Kaiju Coin. I'm
Coin,
gonna admit, I really like that.
Just so people know, these two are my EWC teammates. So there's plenty of jokes on there that I get that would take me too long to explain.
I get that the Derpy Dragon. I do get that one. That's I don't believe that's one I can actually explain on the stream. But hey, moving swiftly forward. No,
I could be here explaining every in joke for the rest of the stream.
Just spend 20 minutes on the internet, guys. You'll figure it out. So yeah,
just Google, just Google whatever. You'll find it in the end. Is that what
welcome to the internet. Please make yourself comfortable. Stay a while.
Derpy Dragon, do not. Google Derpy Dragon. Do not get that wrong.
Welcome to the internet. Please stay a while and come explore the RCI YouTube channel where we have multiple streams a week, including what was it, Night Owl on the Saturdays. We've got Friday championships. We'll have Monday championships as well. So stick around and set your reminders for that. And did you see that smooth segue once again, just like the end of last season? Just
absolutely smooth like butter. That was Austin. Absolutely smooth.
Speaking of smooth, going straight into it. Just whilst we were still waiting for this race to start. It's a good moment to thank our partners. AK Informatica provide all of our server solutions, and they kind of help keep things going. Drive 61 is a great way to find a little bit more speed, and we've also got the discount code in the link below as well in the description. And if you feel like you want to join these guys, and you can also sign up for a race mid-season, and obviously Drive 61 is a great way to get up to speed with that as well. Speaking of getting up to speed, you need kit to do it with. Fanatec, huge thank you to Fanatec, one-stop shop for all of your quality sim racing items. And again, with the affiliate link below, we get a bit of a kickback from that. Doesn't cost you anything and keeps things running here as well. And whilst you're at that, tick that bell button to get all the notifications and all the YouTube goodness. And why not join the Discord? Discord's a great way to get involved in the community. Join all the chats, join the races, and we've got splits to suit everyone. So great experience all around.
Indeed. Reading the notes that Tom Bryant's given me for the reason for red flag. TC4's absolutely fine. Nothing to do with it being multi-class. It was just some TC cars being a bit over exuberant, I'd say, in the first lap. I'm gonna just paraphrase Tom and say, as a quick aside, maybe some of these TCX drivers need a bit of that driver 61 coaching to get clean on their first lap.
That's it. That's it's great. It's a great coaching service. Doing anything, you can be complete beginner and just need a few pointers, or you can be pro level and still need a little bit of refinement. So getting obviously the best drivers in the world still have their own coaches too. So it's a great service and it's a great thing to consider. and it will help just unlock that little bit more speed, or even even if not that, just some consistency. So it's greatly beneficial.
Hopefully we don't have something consistent between this race start and the last race start, which is some interesting driving from some TC drivers, should we say. But yeah, they come around the Casio Triangle now, Austin.
That's it. Malcolm will be happy. That's an opportunity for Malcolm to keep a hold of that podium position. And bit of a wrong to right there, I think, for Kalatiud. It was a little bit exuberant coming up through the top of the hill there in the as the first sector heads towards the second. So, yeah, no, once again, 2 abreast, waiting for that green flag to fly towards the first corner.
This is a long wait.
It is a long wait. It is. Christian is at the quite an important moment, actually. You know, the moment where like a race is about to, start. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. There we go. Speaking of starting, there's the green flag, and once again, that's Kalatiud with a hell of a start coming up this time. I'm looking on the outside of turn 1 into turn 2. Kalatiud and Malcolm side by side. Kalatiud falling back slightly, and that's giving Santo an opportunity, pushing Kalatiud wide slightly onto the outside curb and making the move stick. That was actually a really impressive move there from the Alpine. And he's slipping into P4, and along the lines, looks like everyone else has gotten along safely. That's a car teleported to pit stop. It's like the 741 and the 79 going slow at the back there as well. So I don't know what's happening further down the field. Stewie falling back too. Phil, what have you seen what I haven't?
Well, we just about saw it just on the bottom of the screen through turn 1, but I think Agudelo had a bit of a poor start. I think he just mistimed his gear shift, gave Grim Lilith a bit of a run up, and Dos Ramos as well, beg your pardon, we said Dos Santos then, but Dos Ramos, and a brilliant bit of driving to get around the outside there into, I think he started like P5 in class, he's up to P2. So great job for in the 115 from Grim Lilith, as we still see. I think this is Dos Santos now on, it's Dos Santos, Danny Santo, beg your pardon, sorry. Danny Santo on Matthew Malcolm. Santo currently leading in in his Alpine there. He's in the middle of a bit of a pro sandwich now. Oh no, I beg your pardon. I thought Grim Lilith was in AM. I didn't realise he was still in pro. Never mind. I just still on the timing tower. But yeah, so Dos Santos there doesn't need to race these two around him, but he's more than obliged to race them. There's a bit of a nice sandwich of 2 cars between him and Dos Ramos for P2 in his class.
That's it, and Santo having quite a bit of pace there, actually heading towards 130. That was Kalatiud taking a bit of a look on the outside, but obviously not really the sort of corner anything's going to stick, going slightly wide, and that will open the corner up to Grimler, slightly looking at the inside, thinks better of it, tucks back in behind Kalatiud, and again, Santo just chasing down Malcolm up ahead. Malcolm holding on to that P3 this time around, and I believe that'll be Boardman pushing away as well. Oh, that's Redford pushing away. I believe that's also Raphael Kuehl going slightly wide there. And that's at some point along the way, Boardman has found the way around Hellman. But that is also, no, that's Christopher Streppen, sorry, in the black and white BMW. So top 3 has in the TCX class has changed slightly, but they're still racing each other pretty hard. And Hellman's going to have the work cut out of them to catch up to Boardman in the end here.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's not really about going fast in these GT4s to start the race off with. It's just about taking your time, being very gentle with these tyres. These tyres are very prone to blistering or to what do you call it, as Stewie, just Harmon, just goes a bit wide, and probably because Corpus Strepping out there just a little bit, but not a lot. We're going back to my point, sorry. So the key with these touring cars is just to look after these tyres for the first, say, lap or 2, just to get them up to temperature, just to get them ready, because if you just start scrubbing those tyres, you're going to end up, I know it's only half an hour racing, but it's, you're going to start feeling that very quickly indeed with those TCX tyres. As we move to Javier Gonzalez, I think that's Matt, I was going to say nearly Matt, is it Matt Pryor? I think that's Matt Pryor comes in there, so they're arguing pole position there. Still got Tom Bryant in the 42, who's not in their class, just behind them, but Tom's got Neil Pimlock for company in that blue Alpine just behind, so they're also squabbling for position. So we have a bit of a AM versus AM and pro versus pro from this rear view mirror, Austin.
That's it. And obviously, as you said earlier, Phil, the AM class and the pro class have 2 different championships entirely. So, there's no points up for grabs for these classes fighting each other, but it is just sort of bragging rights out on track. And You know, obviously, it's a good point. Like, you know, if you're faster than someone, then why not? You know, you run the risk of taking yourselves out, but at the same time, you know, so
He's got the exit.
Christian in my ears there a little bit. And that's the Alpine looking to overtake. That's the thing. This happens a lot. This is when we say, like, you know, when one of us is on a bit of a flow and you hear a stumble. A lot of the time, that is Christian. That's Christian again. Tom Bryan going for it.
Look at those legs. Look at him go.
That was it. That was just looking for an opportunity and just taking it.
Yeah, brilliant. I think Tom Bryant's used the power in that BMW just to get around these two Ginettas and Alpines, and these two are going to be absolutely not fuming but frustrated, because now the fastest two cars in the over the corners are stuck behind one of the slowest cars through the corners in the BMW. As we move to Will Stevenson here in the 108 Chevrolet. He's not too far away from this fight, as that's a Ginetta of Matt Pryor just going inside. Tom Pryor's trying to go straight wide over the Dunlop curve, and Neil Pimlott trying to get involved as well.
No, but still looking going 3 wide through Degner, almost 4 wide through Degner 1. The car's falling into some kind of an order, and that's allowed Will Stevenson some opportunity just to kind of catch up and tuck behind in there now. That is a train of 4 cars heading towards the hairpin here, and I believe that is also Pimlott taking a look on the inside of the Ginetta, and that is Will Stevenson looking very deep on the inside of the BMW, hitting the BMW into Pimlott. Not too much of a change in order, but that's Stevenson advantage there.
I think Will Stevenson just hit Tom a bit. He's just giving him the place back, but I think he may get a bit into trouble because he punted Tom straight into Neil Pimlott and gained the position there. I was about to say when you were talking about a train of 4, I was going to say there's a train of 5, and I just see there's a Mercedes event that's Radu that's just gone off. There he is. To just see him just coming on my other monitor there, just off the track. I'm not sure what happened there, but Tom Bryant had a bit of an eventful. What do you say? Half a lap?
I think
Three-quarters of a lap?
I think so. Are we sure that Stevenson and Bryant haven't just teamed up here and that's what's going on? Just Stevenson taking the fall for a little bit of team orders, just to dispatch the Alpine. But no, I don't believe that would actually ever be the case. And Matt Pryor as well, looking back over to Radu over the rear wing. That Mercedes getting very, very close. Big cars, the Mercedes, the BMW, and the Camaro. Very strong in a straight line. And they'll be breathing down the Ginetta coming down this main straight here.
Well, it's not so much that. Look at the legs on this this Merc as well. Fast. Absolutely. Oh, hang on! I've lost my audio then for a minute, but yeah, he's just trying to get around the outside. I'm not sure that's going to work on the Ginetta.
A little bit of oversteer there.
Very, very ambitious there to try and overtake him with there, but well done to Pryor, keeping hold of 10th place. They're still going on. I mean, some of these two are fighting for position, and they've got 3 pros behind them. That is Will Stevenson, who's arguably, I think, unless I'm mistaken, which I may be. Oh no, Matthew Malcolm's got to stop in a minute, but Stevenson there probably needs to get past these two if he wants to work his way up the field. He's what is he now? I'm trying to work out. Literally counting him out. He's 6th in class at the minute. Tom Bryant 5th in class, but yeah, these two I wouldn't say got a bit of a bottleneck with this Ginetta and Mercedes in front, but I think Will Stevenson's certainly trying his best to get past Tom Bryant now. You can see the pace difference as they come through this corner, but man, Tom said wouldn't be sending it Tom in the BMW. He just about makes it. I think Radu just about spots him and gives him the room. Austin as they come side by side through. I think Tom's gonna. Oh, I nearly thought Tom's going up on the grass. He's so close to the grass, you could just about fit a small thing in that gap there that I can't quite think of. But yeah, they're still side by side. Suzuka.
That's Stevenson looking for an opening there as well. A little bit of door banging between Radu and Stevenson, but that's the Alpine and the Camaro taking a look up the inside too, and that's Byron making their way through, and Stevenson looking from Pimlott's point of view now. The best seat in the house to see this turn into this attempt into 130R. Stevenson thinking better of it, falling back Opportunity, though, for Pimlott coming down into 130, but has two big cars to get by. Isn't going to make it stick. Stevenson going around the outside of Casio Triangle. Switches back to the inside. A little bit of a door banging. Once again, the Camaro making it past the Mercedes, and we see yet another change in the order. Wow!
Certainly a lot to cover there. So let's go somewhere calmer. Christian's gone somewhere calmer now.
That's too much excitement for me.
It's too much excitement. So like, we're just going to move on to something. Just two cars now. We're not going to have five cars arguing as we move to Mike Redford now. He's got Dos Ramos behind him, and I think that's Dos Ramos. Yeah, that's Dos Ramos behind him. I don't know where Santo is unless something's happened, because the thing says Calatayud's up in P3, but unless the timing tower just needs a bit of an update as it crests this hill. But I think some of this is a bit out in order, and it's putting me off. Oh, there you go. It's Mike Redford's one position higher than we thought it was. So it was actually Santo behind him there, Austin. But yeah, Mike Redford's managed to get past, back in, not change the position in class, but change the position overall. So you can now get up to Calatayud.
That's it. I mean, Redford did qualify ahead of Calatayud, so depending on car setup, does have the pace to do that, and we'll catch up with that soon. As we see Tom Bryant still defending against Stevenson, all the while while still trying to get past Pryor in the Ginetta, and this is where there's maybe an opportunity coming down the straight here, but I think, again, at the same time, the BMW is going to have to go defensive against the Camaro, and the Ginetta going defensive against the BMW. An opportunity opening up towards Spoon potentially here. All depends how brave Tom is on the brakes, and not brave enough. Almost going too over here, but Stevenson going onto the curb, onto the grass on the outside. A little bit of door banging yet again from these guys. And again, the drag race down to 130R.
Yeah, we move on to somewhere calmer. Now we find chaos back again. Matt Pryor's getting a bit frustrated now, because he's like, he knows he can run away from these two if they just keep arguing, but with these straights, you just need to, with the Ginettas, you just need to put your foot down in something else that isn't an Alpine or an KTM, and you just catch back up. As Will Stevenson sent it around the outside. I think he's just about made it on Tom Bryant. He has absolutely brilliant move from Will Stevenson on Tom Bryant there, outside of Casio in. He's got the inside line, beg your pardon, for the second bit. Tom Bryant's going to use the power of his BMW to get past. But I think unless he turns in early, Will Stevenson's just going to brake a bit later. That's very, very good driving from both of them then, not to hit each other through there. But I think I brought it up just before the start of the broadcast, Austin. Like, you're going to have to be very brave through turn one to make an overtake. And Will Stevenson there made a very nice overtake.
Full commitment, absolutely full commitment through that corner. And obviously, you have to kind of like make your room in the first corner, and then by T2 kind of muscle your way through. And that's the best way to really do it. Otherwise, it's a bit of a nightmare, and you get stuck behind a train coming through the first sector, because again, there's really only one line through that, and it's difficult to make an opportunity to open up an opportunity unless the car in front makes a mistake. Stevenson again having the legs on the brakes through Degner, two there on the curb, and that will put some distance between themselves and Brian. But not for long. I think the Ginetta might actually have it. Obviously, this is now advantage Ginetta coming down into the hairpin. And Tom sending it up the inside there. Christian in my ear as well. I've missed it too. Wait, no, it's too wide again. Once again, it's too wide. The Camaro and the BMW. This is exhausting in the best way possible. But the Camaro just keeping a hold of it. Bryant making their way past. Pryor, and trying to look for an opportunity now onto Stevenson, and they're too far back to really make her open one up.
Well, it was very opportunistic, but what worked for Tom Bryant is he's understood a bit to spoon curve. Ginetta may have him, but we are on a straight now, and I think all Tom Bryant has to do is just put his foot down, and I think he may just be on this little sprint into 130R. There we go, the BMW there. Much faster in a straight line than Ginetta, but Tom Bryant saw that he had the inside line. Will Stevenson was giving him a bit of an inside line. Didn't have to shepherd the BMW outside, but he had some brilliant opportunistic move there. As I think that was Pimlott trying to get past Radu that was trying to see at the back.
Yeah, it was a little bit opportunistic back there. Yeah. Tom Bryant as well. Just starting to pull a bit of old Stevenson pulling a bit of a gap at the moment now. They just kind of, they've had their playtime. They've got they've got cars to catch. So, so boldly going where no Camaro has gone before. And again, but that doesn't mean the fight back here has gotten boring at all, because obviously you've got Matt Pryor, you've got Pimlott there, you've got Radu, you've got Brian, all fighting for those positions as well. And that's Radu going very sideways, and that's contact. That's contact with Matt Pryor. I think the Mercedes.
We'll see a race replay, yeah.
Yeah, oh no, that was contact that sent the Mercedes sideways in the first place. So racing just a little bit too close, but that's Ragu out of this little contention there, and that'll be down to the stewards, I think, to decide who was maybe at fault. But I'd say it's hard to tell from the helicopter angle. It's not really our place to say anyway.
Not with my commentary hat on, no. But I think I've got the head steward hat on. I probably would have an opinion, but I'd need a second angle on that one. I think most of it looked like Radu probably looked a bit too keen on the steering when he steered across, but I could be wrong. I'm not saying there's no reason for him not to report it. But obviously, I've seen it many times when I've live stewarded, and then come in to see the broadcaster afterwards, and they've asked me, why was this an NFA? Why was this a penalty? And then you just see it from one view, and suddenly, like, just particularly the chase cam view, which you obviously don't use in broadcasting because it just looks more bad, really. But no, I don't want to see it. Christine asking if we want to see it. It's like, no, we don't need to see chase cams today. But,
apologies to those that actually do use chase cam in game. The views echoed by my co-workers. The views echoed by my co-workers aren't necessarily echoed by me.
We're not dissing on chase cam. We're just dissing on chase cam as a means to broadcast a race and commenting on it.
At least it's not like those bonnet cam users. Just
same in bonnet cam. Oh, okay. Bonnet cam talking way as we see Neil Pimlott's nearly lost the position to Ronaldo there, and I think he has done absolutely brilliant piece of. We've seen some great opportunistic driving tonight, and that's an absolutely brilliant piece of driving. As seen as Stefan Miller now trying to get past Pimlott. This isn't pole position in class, but he has got people in his class just ahead of him, and he's got this really annoying Alpine between him and.
Oh, almost contact there as well. The Pimlott nearly just tightening the line up enough to run across the Aston's front end, but luckily avoiding any form of contact there through turn 2. And that's who was that? That was Milano going very, very sideways, losing it under deceleration, I believe, back end stepping out in front of them.
Whoa.
That's Hellman. That's Hellman defending against Verstappen. So Hellman has made it. Oh, maybe a little bit of double. This is touring cars. Now we're touring car racing, guys. Going down into turn 3 now, and that will be Hellman holding on to that, I believe. And yeah, as I said before, there's really only one line through here. So unless Hellman makes a mistake, I don't think Verstappen will find a way through. But Verstappen really, really pushing Hellman at this point. Daly not far behind either.
No, indeed, Daly's not that far behind. He's got Yo, and I think there's Jackson just behind him for company, but they're a bit further away from Verstappen is to Stewie. But yeah, some of that was a bit reminiscent of like Super Touring BTCC there, to be honest. Bits of wouldn't say it's aggressive defending from Heilman. Certainly, he's not really the sort that would resort to such things. I think he just had a bit of an understeer through turn 2, or is that still turn 1? Actually, I'm not sure if the first bit of Suzuka counts as one big long turn 1, or if it's 2 separate turns. But anyway, Verstappen's still keeping Stewie honest. They've got to be a bit careful, though. There's only 12 minutes of this race left, so probably about 6 or 7 laps, depending on where the leader is. And yeah, they still got about 3 seconds to Boardman at the minute. So maybe instead of usually you're looking to, instead of fighting, you probably just want to work together just to catch back up. And squabbling just is what Boardman wants them to do, because obviously as you squabble, you lose time.
That's it. You don't want to. Again, you don't want to fight too hard, as you say. You burn your tires up. You lose time to the cars around you. And at the moment, Hellman has a bigger problem. So does Verstappen with having to try and catch Boardman. Looks like Hellman's only 3 seconds behind, so it's not an impossible task with 11 minutes remaining. Pimlott looking very racy at the moment with Matt Pryor. Matt Pryor doing a great job, by the way, holding off Pimlott. Obviously, there is a class difference there as well. Pimlott being in the pro class, so. Pryor really kind of out driving the Ginetta here slightly, but still a lot of the M-Class cars and the Alpine specifically being so far ahead.
Ooh. I just look close. Sorry,
No,
that
it's
just
okay.
look
It's okay, Paul.
close.
It's
Always
okay.
makes me scared when I see a car try and put their nose in through here. It's so like it's just a bit I don't know what to call it, Austin. It's just a bit you just have to have faith that the car in front's gonna move out your way, or at least see you coming, because they don't really necessarily need to sometimes if they don't want to. But yeah, just Pimlott there probably just getting a bit frustrated maybe behind Pryor.
And I wouldn't blame them. I mean, Pryor's doing a great job here at just defending as a whole. I mean, Pryor held the likes of Pryor held the likes of Bryant and Stevenson up for how many laps? Like 4 or 5 laps of just close pack racing. It felt more like NASCAR than touring cars or GT4 class. So yeah, no, there's been some amazing racing, amazing driving as well from Pryor there. It's not an easy situation to be in, and they kind of came back every single time until Bryant and Stevenson pulled ahead. So, speaking of which, they are Stevenson catching up to the likes of Agudelo as well. So, only a second and a half away from catching up to the cars they need to clear to get to the rest of their pack. So, again, order spaced out quite a bit. TCX cars is only one class of car anyway, and they got the pros and the AMs and the GT4s, and they are all spread out. So, the points going to be all over the place.
He had a bit of a wiggle left through 30-yard pin lot. I think he had a bit of error wash from that Ginetta bar. And Stefan Miller is so close. I think it's Stefan. I do beg your pardon if it's Stephen Miller, but Stefan Miller, so close to the back of these two. And I think Pimlott may have the legs on Pryor coming into turn one.
I'm not sure. I think they lost the slipstream there, Phil.
Oh, I think he has done. I think he just come out the slip a bit too early, but yeah, I think he's still got the inside.
There we go.
Just about. I think he just about makes it. Yes, Austin. Oh, just about. That's still too wide.
That's Miller. That's also Miller looking to join the party there as well. Very quick in a straight line. That's the other point as well. The Stevenson and Bryant both had cars that were very strong in a straight line. What? Oh, that was contact. That was Pimlott turning in a little bit too early there, hitting the side of the Ginetta and bouncing wide, and that allowed the Aston to get through. I think there's contact again with the Aston as well. So a little bit of a unnatural sort of jink there from the Alpine. And the Alpine, its over exuberance, has lost that position. But as we were saying, the Ginetta and the Alpine have strengths and weaknesses in very similar places. Both are great through the corners, but not that strong in a straight line, and that's the way these cars balance themselves out. That Aston, again, kind of a jack of all trades. It's okay in the corners, it's strong on the straights, but it's not to the lengths of the McLaren or the BMW or the Camaro in that respect. So, you know, these cars do balance out pretty well, and you're starting to see that in action now, guys.
Indeed, I think Miller's here. Probably going to have to wait a bit for a move as we see for the lead of the race against the racer of Malcolm here. I think Malcolm's just trying to get past a racer, but I think one of those things is, as we said before, McLaren one of the fastest in the straight line around here, so Malcolm's probably just going to have to sit in the toe round this straight and just try and catch up on some of the bits where the Porsche will be inevitably faster than the McLaren. As moving back though, as we see Miller in the tenacious Taurus treble free going through 130. This is a very brave move, and just about I think was a good thing as tarmac runoff there for Pryor to go into, but yeah, he's gonna have to leave a bit of space. I think he's just been squeezed up on the curb, and I think that's a brilliant piece of driving there from Miller there to get past Pryor, but he should be able to run away now. For as much as Pryor's going to have a bit of slipstream, I don't think that Ginetta's got anything on the Aston to try and move alongside for turn one.
No, that is it. I mean, it goes to show how strong that Aston is in a straight line, and props to Pryor for trying to go on the outside there, but it's not quite a move that's going to work, and that is going to leave them vulnerable. Like, once again, to Pimlott. Obviously for Pryor though, this spot is for position. It's both AM-class cars. That's Pimlott coming on the outside, and there we go. There's the mistake that we were talking about in the first sector. It's so hard to overtake unless your car in front of you comes off its line, and that was Pryor just hugging the inside line a bit too far there, and that allowed Pimlott just to kind of run the car wide, carry the speed, and overtake. And not only is that cost That's Christian about here with Rolano's also gone past. That's just as what I was about to say
Oh,
there.
that's not going through wide. Oh,
That really cost Pryor, didn't it? That was
yeah, that's very cheeky from Radu. I want to see this again. We talk about opportunistic driving, and look at this.
oh
Look,
wow.
this is three cars in one. Radu, Zamfir Radu, absolutely brilliant piece of driving. I was about to say, Neil Pimlott had a very tidy move to get past Pryor anyway for the S's. Some nice bit of driving there, but yeah, I think that one takes the cake as Will Stevenson makes his way past Agudelo there for P9 in class. It's not positioning class. He's still got another 3.5 seconds to the next Pro GT4 in class, which is Grim Lilith. You can just about see, we just went through your screen there in the white BMW. So Grim still got a bit of time. He's still got about a 3-second advantage on 5 minutes left. So I say, where's the leader? They just come through now. So we're probably going to have about 3 laps of racing as we see Santo and Dos Ramos here. This is for P1 in AM, I think, at the minute. So certainly not. Still, lead for the race overall is still half a second between Malcolm and Eraser, and it's, well, less than that for P1 in AM at the minute. So some very close contest going on. And I think that's Dos Ramos. Never mind, I spoke a bit way too early there as Dos Ramos there just has a bit of a hot tire moment there through turn one.
A disagreement with the teammate, it looked like. We're seeing both the Alpines, the SRI Esports Alpines into the grass. Looking at the SRI Esports guys, that is Dos Ramos, Santo, Gonzalez, and Rolano, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're all running the same livery and same team name, so that's if you're seeing multiple Alpines of the same color, those are the drivers to watch out for. They seem to be running. That's mainly AM class cars. It's an AM class Alpine.
They're all AM class cars.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's actually really nice to see. I really like seeing these esports teams coming in and getting themselves out there. It's great to see and just making a name for themselves. Matthew Malcolm very close to the back of John Eraser as well, looking for the overall lead of the race. Still 4 minutes left and plenty of time to make up for. Malcolm got a little bit pushed over in the first race before the restart. So running P2 in class, an opportunity to kind of correct that.
Indeed, he had a bit of a moment there out of the spoon. I think he just mounted the curve on the inside just a bit too much. He can use a bit of that curve. As we see Yelly Verstraeten here trying to get past Raphael Kuhl, that's Ted Edwards as well in the 195, just ahead of those two as well. So this is for, what's this now? This is I want to say, oh god, I'm not counting that many cars in one go. Never mind. But it is for a position in pro class. These are all fighting for position. I think that's Verstraeten's just gone off there on his own. He just had a bit of a moment. These cars are a bit difficult to control. They may be slow, but they aren't. They can be a handful if you're not careful. As we move back, Austin, to this for this fight for P2 in class. At least we can count. At least I can count that part down.
That's it. And again, as Christian says in our ears, that Stu went a little bit deep there. But managing to keep hold of the position in front of Verstappen at the moment. Verstappen's so quick though, coming down towards Spoon, and again, not going to make this last 2.5 minutes easy for our very own Stewie. But no, coming out of Spoon now. These guys are going to be close to the very end at the very least if Verstappen doesn't find a way past it. I don't see Hellman pulling away, and that's not Hellman. That's not the fact that. Oh, that's a bit of a change. That's a cut. sorry for leaving that mid thought, but that was a bit of a cut to the top two there.
I think Malcolm's maybe surprised himself a bit there. He just about cut to it, but
it startled them as much as it startled.
Very startled. Like, oh, I didn't realise you were going to break this early, John. But one thing to point out as well in Eraser that the McLaren does have is the, as you said, fixed differential at the back, but it also has a fixed brake bias as well. So John Eraser doesn't have those luxuries of an not an open diff, but being able to change the diff. As you can see, two BMWs. I'm not sure who they are. They're probably two stragglers at the minute, but traffic. we were told that we just about get traffic in a half-hour race, and John Araser and Matthew Malcolm are going to have to deal with some of this just to get through. Oh,
Yeah, it's not where you want to come into traffic either. It's going to hold them up a little bit going down to the Cascade Triangle, and that's very, very brave for a Razor getting past the first TCX car. That's Malcolm needed to kind of elbow their way through there, and that has just separated them in terms of a bit of a gap. But look at the gap between Eraser and Malcolm now. That really opened things up, and that traffic really did Malcolm dirty. And again, going back to his Verstappen, both amazingly quick drivers. Verstappen obviously being our championship winner for the GT4 class last season, so they'll be looking to expand on that this season in the TCX class.
Yeah, indeed. Christoph's been here for a good while, as we said before. Very, very, as you say, experienced in a multitude of cars. Actually, I'd say around RCI, both across GT4. I've seen him in just about nearly every single GT4 in RCI for these Thursday champs. So yeah, very experienced with these cars. Stewie, no slouch either. I think Stewie really enjoys driving these BMWs. So yeah, when Stewie enjoys driving a car, he does go very fast in them indeed.
That's it. I mean, the Porsche is infamous, and I got to say, from what I'm seeing in the box, Stewie's really come a long way as well. Stewie's always been quick, but I don't think I've ever seen them as quick as they are now. So, you know, I've seen them take leaps and bounds, and maybe it's that Driver 61 coaching. Who knows?
Maybe interesting segue there as we see Raphael Hewell's
That's a lot of front end
target car. It looks like he's made a target out of someone or something with that front. But yeah, just behind Ted Edwards now. He's still got a bit of moving on to do as John Eraser comes through Spoon Curve now. Still got Matthew Malcolm. He's about just under a second, just about under a second behind. So maybe that little bit risky, but that little send at the Casio Triangle the lap before, Austin's given him a bit of breathing room he needed for this last lap.
That's it. That traffic really did Malcolm dirty. Malcolm, with the fastest lap of the race, does have the pace to win, but sadly, looks like unless something changes in this next couple sequence of corners, looks like it wasn't meant to be for race one. So no, it's looking more and more like Eraser will be the winner of race one in its entirety, coming across a little bit more traffic as we cross the line. Malcolm getting a great exit there. I dare say actually pulling up closer, but not going to be close enough as we cross the line. That's also Agudelo with a drive-through coming up, so that'll be track limits. Yeah, that'll be track limits, and we did see this. We did see this before. We did say track limits around Suzuka. There's some corners, like in the Technos.
Oh, he's trying to serve it on the last lap, which doesn't work, sadly. And I think he sped in the pit lane as well. But
oh no,
we'll move on. We'll see later on. But just so people know, if you do get a DT on the last lap, do not serve on the last lap. The game will not clear the penalty for you. You might as well just cross the finish line, and it will give you a time penalty instead.
That's it. The Michael Schumacher Silverstone strats do not work.
That's right, and I think there's been an accident at Degner 2, actually, looking at involving the 9 of Rob Franken. I'm not really sure, but I've just gone on my other monitor and I've just seen a sideways BMW through Degner 2.
We've had such a clean half hour, and then this happens.
But yeah, absolutely great driving from John Eraser. Let's not take anything away. That was pressure for half an hour from Matthew Malcolm. So full credit to John Eraser for absorbing that and still coming out with a win. That's
it. It's one of those rare moments where, like, you know, like we have seen great battles for the lead before here on Thursday Championship. You know, we saw it. Was it Nürburgring last season between Boardman and
George McDonald.
McDonald, yeah, that was a great battle for the lead that lasted for most of the race. And a lot of times strategy comes in as well, but with these sprint races, it's not very often. You know, with these sprint races, you really start seeing these intense battles for the lead. Raphael Buell going wide at 130R there. Speaking of intense battles, and they'll be losing that position to, I believe, Edwards. Was it? No, there was Edwards in the carbon fiber front car. I got confused there for a second because it looked like the car from the front was pure carbon fiber. Then I saw the blue on the back. I said, wait, no, that's not a livery. That's not being uploaded. What's going on there?
And this Verstraeten just behind him as well. So yeah, I think Ted's been in the wars as well, looking at the front of that car as well. So yeah, not been a clean race by the looks of it, unless they've just been hitting barriers. But yeah, winners for today
That's it.
for
Winners
first race.
Yeah, so for first race overall, we've got John O'Razor in first place, Malcolm with fastest lap in second, Kalata Yud in third place, Redford coming in P4, Dos Ramos coming in P5, but first place in the AM category, second place in AM, P6 overall, you've got Santo, Grimlilith coming in P7th in the Pro class, Stevenson also in Pro class coming in P8, Gonzalez coming up in P9, and Tom Bryant in P10. So mixture of classes in the top 10 there. Again, it's what you love to see. It's this close racing and this dynamic that makes it very, very interesting. Again, the top 10 in the AM class, you've got Dos Ramos, Santo, Gonzalez, Radu, Miller, Pryor, Guran, Rolano, and Agudelo. And Anderson in the top 10, rounding that out there as well. And that's the M2 class. That's the TCX cars also involved in this too. So that'll be
No,
Anderson.
this is just all. Oh yeah, there's a few
Yeah,
different
that's
numbers, right?
it's combining the GT4 and the AM class, and in the TCX class, you've got Bodman, Hellman, Verstappen, Daly, Yeo, Dauber, Jackson, Anderson, Edwards, Huell, Verstraeten, Franken, yeah, Kloppelman, and Webb, Hauser, Versikov, and Vic Osland rounding up in the in those categories there. Gotta say, Jackson in the AM class really, really making some strides there.
Wait, where are you looking?
It was back
I was
in.
a bit
There we
lost
go.
there.
Anderson.
Jackson in the
Anderson.
AM class. Oh, Anderson. Oh, yeah.
Anderson. That was it. Sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
Anderson.
Toya and Anderson. Yeah, that a bit of a, I wouldn't say quiet race, but yeah, it's not been, hasn't exactly had to much trouble. That's all you want really in some of these races. It looks like a lot of drivers did get into trouble. It doesn't have to be the fastest driver. Not saying
That's
Anderson's a
it.
slow driver, saying that, but the key is always to stay out of trouble. And if you look after your car will look after you.
That's it. And just keep it consistent. So, Phil, I mean, end of first race. Opinions.
Opinions.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a few great pieces of racing, thoroughly entertaining, close quarter racing, but with that comes the risk of some incidents. There's been a few incidents, but nothing that bad. Certainly, nothing egregious, should we say? Just a few. A lot of incidents happen because drivers just haven't not thought about it. I'm trying to think of the right word now, but they're not sitting there just doing it on purpose. A lot of the time, it's just you're fighting for position, and sometimes a move plays better in your head, and it happens a lot, and it happens to everyone. So yeah, as they move back onto the grid for the second race. But yeah, been a bit of a interesting race, I must admit. We've still got another half hour of this. Just to remind a few people, there is no grid changes for race 2. They have the same qualifying positions as race 1. So no reverse grids, none shenanigans like that. Same points on offer for everyone, so there's no feature race or sprint race stuff. It's exactly the same points because the race laps are exactly the same. Few opportunities for the drivers, obviously. You know how much fuel you're using, so you should know down to the decimal place how much fuel you're using for a 30-minute race in your car, Austin.
No, that's it. And no, these sprint races, they do kind of be like that. They're very hectic, very action packed, all at once, and you only have 30 minutes to really make anything of it. So it's not a long time at the end of the day.
Indeed. There's still got another couple of minutes on the track at the minute. I'm not sure who I'm looking out for next race. I certainly want to see hopefully there's less well, I wouldn't say less chaotic. I don't want to say that in the nicest possible way, but just give us our voices a bit of a break, to be honest. But yeah, it should be a good one. I'm hoping we see a bit more of Heilman, Verstappen, and Daly in for the top of pro class. Boardman had a bit of a, I think, not sure if he just had a good start or he just qualified a bit behind Stewie or something like that. Sometimes it's just you have a bit of a poor lap in qualifying relative to your own ultimate pace. So maybe that happened with Boardman, but hopefully Stewie, Heilman, and Verstappen can get at least a bit more involved for a race win with Boardman in top of TCX.
Yeah, again, I think we're going to see a big scrap between Eraser and Malcolm. That'd be great to see. Obviously, that got very heated towards the end there, and I felt like it was kind of cut off a little bit prematurely. But again, nature of these length of races, and I think you're completely right there with the TCX cars up front, Verstappen, Haleman, and Boardman. That's got the potential for some fireworks as well. So I'm keeping an eye on the top of all those cars, and again, 15 seconds left before we start the parade lap for race 2.
You know, I've always reminded whenever I look at the Suzuka top row like this that they nearly made this a double figure of 8. So in other words, sector 1 went over itself, if that makes sense. Like instead of this really complicated S's bit, the track went under and then over itself and then under and over itself again. So obviously they only kept that little bridge there that you can see just in the distance. But yeah, one thing that always reminded me just how ambitious this project was. I think this is I'm not sure if Honda owned this track or at least used to own this track at some point, like Toyota owned Fuji Speedway, for instance.
That would make sense actually, because there is that clip of Ayrton Senna in the NSX in the loafers of all footwear, heel towing the NSX around here. So it's a very quintessentially Japanese track. If you look at the facilities around it, it's very kind of, I don't want to say it's kind of build and make do. The facilities do look kind of aged compared to other tracks such as like Silverstone. I mean, look at the power pylon in the background there. It's very quintessentially I can't speak. It's very quintessentially Japanese, and that is not a bad thing. That's the big Toyota banner. So maybe Toyota on the track, who knows? And Honda as well. It's just a symphony of everything that is Japanese car culture here. And again, they race everything here as well in real life. They race the little K cars, if you've seen those at all.
K cars.
Yeah, little tiny city hatchbacks that were built just to kind of like sort of save space.
Oh no, I know what you mean. Now.
That's it. So yeah, no, they race these around here, and it's amazing to watch, and they're super competitive as well.
What are the K cars for? Are they just like, I think they're like avoiding taxation laws or something like that.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they were basically built to just be efficient within Japanese cities. If you think about how built up cities like Tokyo and Kyoto are, having big cars in the city centre doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. So owning a K car is kind of like how owning an electric vehicle in the UK kind of is how there was kind of subsidiaries kind of put in place as well, special parking, little different kind of perks here and there, perks of owning these really small cars. And again, you've got stuff like the Mazda Cosmo, which I think is one of the best looking cars of all time. You got the Suzuki Cappuccino, which again was amazingly good fun to drive, really fun little car.
A K car.
Yeah, the Cappuccino was a K car, I believe. I mean, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Suzuki Cappuccino was kind of one of those like little K sports cars. But I believe the Cosmo was one of the first. Then K trucks as well, like the Honda Acti. That's also I've toge raced a Honda Acti. They are fun.
I was going to say, I know what a K van is. I've seen them. It's like your Mitsubishi Fusos or something like that, like with the little stumpy front end. I think we used to have them. They're called Bedford Rascals or something like that in the UK.
They're also Suzuki's over here as well. The Bedford Rascal was also under the Suzuki brand as well.
I think Bedford Rascal's a bit classic though. Certainly before my time, and I'm not exactly young either. But
yeah, the sad part is I actually do remember the Bedford Rascals growing up as a kid, so you're making me feel a little bit old there, Phil.
Moving on from van talk, as we see them just lining up through 130 on. They don't half line up in double file very early on. To be honest, they still got the Casio triangle and the main straight to go. As we said before, it feels like forever when they line up for lights out, because I think it always feels like the first line is a go line, but it's right at the top end of the straight, I think.
yeah, we actually have a lot of time just to sort of like kind of get our bearings
Waffle.
and let the yeah, kind of just let these guys kind of do their thing and do their lineup. That's Redford catching up a little bit there in the Porsche, catching up to the likes of a Razor. Redford wanting to stay in this fight as well a little bit, and I don't know if they've got the pace to hold Malcolm up. Malcolm is incredibly quick, and hopefully now still in that rhythm as well. But we'll find out in just a moment.
Yeah, indeed, this should be very close indeed. They're just coming up to the line now, I think. We're just about to see if hopefully Malcolm gets a good start just as much as before.
There we go. There's green lights. And that's a Razor coming towards the T1 now. It's Kalati Good, I think, was a little bit ahead there at the start. It has a really, really good start. A little bit of contact between Malcolm and Kalati Good yet again, like we saw before the restart of race 1. Malcolm having the inside going into T2. I don't know if that's going to give the opportunity. It's going to just about give a little bit of wheel arch banging there as well, but no one eating the barrier, which is always good to see. That's Grim Lilith fighting against one of the Alpines there as well. A swarm of the AM-class Alpines there from the SRI Esports guys, and Lilith again in a bit of a sandwich. That car not being the best suited for this part of the track. The Alpine swarming in the corners, and that is where they're strongest. And beyond that, looking down the grid, it looks like there's been a little bit of contact at the back there between the 18 and maybe the 48 is lagging there as well. So I don't know if we have a replay of what's happened there, but Phil, looks like there's been a pretty hectic start.
I think so. I think Anderson's been involved in an incident now. He's had his. It looks like he's. I'm just having my second launch running now. Looks like his rear tires are absolutely baked at the minute. Can't even control the car properly for the S's. To be fair to him, I think it's more to just do with his tires. I'm not sure who made contact with him. As he said, I just looked at it just the same as you on the track map and just saw the 18. So. Last race winner Anderson is now back in, well, not P last, but P last in his class, but not P last overall. As we see Jackson and Ted Edwards there. I think that's just a bit of a turn in there. As I think that's is that ahead of Ted Edwards now. I think that's a Verstraeten, but yeah, not quite. And we move back to the front now as Mike Redford's now looking a bit racy with John Razor. So the Razors had to deal with Malcolm one race. Now he's going to deal with Mike Redford this race, Austin.
That's it. He just can't.
Oh, he's gone wide.
That's a Razor. That's a Razor off the Castillo triangle. Making a bit of a mistake there, bouncing off the inside, and that's Redford with the opportunity for the lead. That's Malcolm and Kalata Yud still fighting in the background there, slowing each other up, and that's Malcolm not able to capitalize on this. But a Razor pulling into the Citroen heading towards T1. You see the legs in the McLaren. I see what you mean there, Phil. The McLaren's so fast in a straight line, but is it enough to make a move on the inside or the outside of the Porsche? I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all.
Oh, Mike Redford, you better take a screenshot, mate. Leading an RCI broadcasted race. He's going to leave that one up on his mantelpiece there. But yeah, well, apparently I've cursed him now, but we'll see. He's still got 24 laps of racing left, so probably about 14, 15 laps of this still to go. And he's got Matthew Malcolm just behind him, John Razor now, and Carlos Colatia. These two. A bit of squabble at the start, but they've managed to catch up again. I think one thing that's helped them catch up with Razor now has been the fact that him and Redford went side by side through turn 1 and 2 there, Austin.
That was it. That was a pretty bold move and just about made it work. And yeah, no, very, very tight up at the front with Kalata Yud working on the inside of the turn just before the hairpin, bouncing off the curb. Very lucky to not bounce into the Porsche. I believe that's also Malcolm missing the apex, and that's giving the Alpine of Santo a chance there as well. Santo. So sorry, I didn't quite remember the first name there, but the Di Santo coming through the hairpin, making an opportunity, and we saw how quick these guys are before. That is an opportunity. That is an opportunity for the Alpine to stay ahead and get ahead of these pro class cars.
Yeah, no, the Redford's gone wide. Oh, I have cursed it. I'm so sorry, Mike. I'm so sorry. I've cursed it, but yeah, I think he. What have I done? Well, I'll tell you what Mike's done instead, just to try and deflect from my own mistakes. So Mike went a bit wide through the hairpin. And that just gave John Razor the lead, and he's just gone a bit wide through Spoon, the second half of Spoon there. So disappointed for Mike Redford. A bit of a fraudulent slip there, but Mike Redford bit of a probably a lap two. We'll probably want back on him, but he's not out of the race. He's still not that far behind. Look at this. We talk about the speed advantage some of these have, and look at that. Porsche absolutely catching up with the Alpine, no problem at all.
Very. Oh no, that's a little bit of contact there. That's a sideways Porsche. Again, Phil, you say Redford's not out of the race yet. You say that, and then that happens.
Listen, I'm just not mine. I'm not having this on my. I'm not having this on me. Absolutely not. Rejecting any sorts of accusation of any of this is my fault. And we move swiftly on.
This is some BCCC vibes right here, and a little bit of door banging, and I wonder if Daly's going for first as we come around this next sequence of corners. But
good reference.
It's a very good reference. Very good reference. Thank you very much. I'll take that with honor. And again, looking at that, that's Verstappen that's also made the way past Boardman as well at some point along the way. So that's been a huge shift up in the order for the TCX cars, with Hellman losing out and having to catch up all over again whilst going defensive. That's not going to be easy, especially when you consider, as we've spoken about it before, those front tyres on the BMW are a bit of a pain. So that's going to be difficult. And that's Phil Webb. That's Phil Webb in the wall. I believe that's in the first sector. Looking at the race replay now, where they helped round. They were helped round. They were helped round, and that was the 20. Is that the 27?
I think that's because I think that's maybe Bicosland, is it?
It might well be, and that was huge. That was a huge collection. I mean, I know Hellman's the DHL car, but did someone order DHL collection? Because that's kind of what happened there.
Absolutely nothing Webb could have done there, to be fair to him. You go through that full pelt. These cars are very difficult to control on the edge through fast corners, and suddenly you see a car rejoin the track in front of you like that. Absolutely nothing he could do to avoid that. So gutted for Phil Webb, to be honest. Absolutely, as I said, absolutely nothing he could do to avoid that incident.
That's a little bit frustrating, and obviously Phil now back in pits. I don't know if that's that race done, or whether or not they'll be heading back out again and trying to make up what time they can. But I don't think I'd blame them for either way. That's Stevenson once again with Pimlott. Drag race down the front straight. Pimlott going very defensive, pinning Stevenson to the inside, and just about making that work. Pimlott going wide on the outside of T1 there, but again the position will switch over. That's the move done for the 108 Camaro.
Yeah, very, very reminiscent. We talk about reminiscent things, to be honest. And we nearly was going to bring up the well, some people probably bring up Schumacher and Barrichello in Hungary, but I nearly brought up Senna and Prost in Portugal, which was probably back in the 80s, to be honest. But yeah, Pimlott being very defensive, pushing Stevenson right up against the pit wall as we move to Danny Santo now. P3 in class, he's got Radu, who's P2 in class, and his teammate Dos Ramos just ahead of him, not too far away in P1 for AM. So some of these AM GT4s very useful around here at the minute, as I think Gonzalez, the third of these SRI cars, just behind Groom Lilith's BMW there. Obviously not in the same class. Oh, it is. Hang on. I got a cross wire. It is Tom Bryant. Sorry, never mind. It is Tom Bryant.
Yeah, it's Tom Bryant in
P8. Very cross wire there, Austin. I do apologise.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us. I've had several already. So again, we've got an excuse, Phil. We've had 2 weeks off. We can chalk it down to that, as Gonzalez looking down the inside of Bryant there as well. Yeah, not making a move there, as Christian and me are saying no chance, and I have to agree. That gap was closing, and now you're on the straight, and the BMW is just mega in the straight line. Maybe catch up a little bit through 130 on a bit on the brakes going towards Casio. That's Bryant going very wide though, but the Alpine following in sympathy, coming in very, very hot. It seems like these Alpines just want to run together, and I don't blame them. They're very, very strong performance all around.
And wait, is this a race replay that we're looking at? Is this a race replay from race one?
Christian,
these are live pictures of Matthew Malcolm and John Araser here, P1 and 2. John Araser's probably I've got a nice bit of a gap now after Redford's been effectively punted out of the race. But yeah, he's suddenly gone, not you again. So now he's got to deal with it for 20 more minutes, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, in a great position as well, and no traffic to help them just yet either for a razor. So, uh, okay, so looking for a race replay, Christian Ari is saying there was contact with the leaders, and that's Hellman losing out and down in P18 there. Looking at what happened,
Oh,
that was Stevenson. Was that Stevenson? That is one of the Camaros at the very least, with Boardman and Verstappen just kind of a little bit of door banging there. Actually, no, Hellman's. I'm stupid. Hellman's only in P18 because it's a different class of car. So I misread that a little bit. In fact, if anything, Hellman's actually benefited from this. That's closed the pack up drastically, and who knows how much damage is on those BMWs up front.
I'm going to have to clear Will Stevenson's name here and say that was actually not Will Stevenson's car. It was the other Camaro of what's his name? The Konstantin Yarmash
Yep.
in P20, I think that was
Yeah,
probably.
741.
Yeah, so yeah, not sure what happened there, but probably just obviously a lot faster than these TCXs. Bit keen to get past through 130R and maybe just understeered a bit into or carried a bit too much speed and just went straight into the side of Verstappen. And then obviously when an incident happens, you just have to try and recover as best you can.
That's it. And well, the 130R is a corner that will bite. If it doesn't bite you, it'll bite someone around you, and that's 2 times this race we have seen 130R doing its thing, and rather sadly to the detriment of the BMW TCX cars. So they'll be resetting as best they can. And speaking of Stevenson, Stevenson is involved in something this time, but a little bit of door banging with one of the M-Class Alpines. That was with that was with looking around, that was Gonzalez, yeah, the 216, and now it's an Alpine fight to drag race towards T1, and Pimlott having the legs and the better exit out of the Casio triangle and going side by side. I mean, is Pimlott brave enough to make this outside move, breaking a little bit early, but just not quite able to make that move. And those two cars, I think as well for Pimlott, stuck behind Alpines or Ginettas even, it seems to be theme of the day.
Theme of the day, I'd also point out, it's not whether Pimlott's brave enough to make that move. He's tried to do that at least 3 times this evening, and he's always come out a bit worse, where the car on the inside just sends a bit too much speed through turn 1 and ends up just pushing him a bit off the track. So he probably thought it'd probably be easier just to give up on the corner and focus on a better exit for next time. But yeah, as we move on to Doc Ramos now, P3, and he's giving Grim a bit of a tap. Grim Lilith, they're not in the same class, but probably a bit too keen to get past the Alpine there through this very technical sector where the Alpine is a lot faster than the BMW. But yeah, I think
you just gotta. Sorry, Phil, for interrupting, but you just got to consider you're in Dos Ramos's position. You're in P1 for the lead. Your teammate, it's not your teammate, sorry, but it's Radio, but still 3.1 seconds behind. That's a decent gap, and overtaking Lilith, there's nothing to really gain from that. So, if you're Dos Ramos, you really have to kind of consider how do you dial in your aggression here, because you don't want to risk receiving a post-race penalty. And you don't want to damage your car that might impede your ability to fight all the car in front's ability to fight the cars ahead of them either. So again, you got to really sort of think about that kind of aggression, and that is, an argument for you can have pace, but sometimes you need to be able to have that experience in racing to kind of weigh up your options. As we see Daly going very wide onto the grass there as well.
I think Daly may have just seen what happened to Verstappen a few laps ago with the 741. I just thought, no, I'm staying right out of this one. But yeah, going back to your point though, unless you're going a lot faster, if you're in a different class of the car in front of you, unless like well, this is going to be spicy. This is Stewie and is that Andy Boardman? Yeah, and I think Yarmash has learned from last time, to be fair to him. So and Stewie's hit Boardman, and he's going the way of Yarmash again. And here they come through the Casio triangle. P2 in TCXs is, and Stewie's just about got through there, and Yarmash giving Boardman's door a bit of a graze. And going back to my other screen as well, Dos Ramos is really frustrated sitting behind this BMW through Sector 1. He's just given Grim another tap.
Oh no!
To the Dunlop curve. Not anything significant, just a little bit of a tap. But yeah, Yarmash managing to use that extra speed through on these TCXs just to get past nice and cleanly. I mean, he's not in much of a fight. I would say like he just wants to sit neatly behind Verstappen if he just wants to just like not have much influence on this big TCX battle, just stay out the way. And I think that was the BMW that just went off the track just behind there. But yeah, as certainly should be a bit tight for P1 in class for TCXs, Austin.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great battle this last 15 minutes. I can't wait to see how it all folds out. But no, that's again I think some classic touring car racing there from Hellman. You're getting a little bit shouldery on Bodman making that move work. But end of the day that move stuck and Hellman's rolling with it.
Has Boardman gone off the track because he's behind Daly now?
Yeah, Bodman got overtaken by Daly as Stewie got through. So Bodman kind of went a little bit wide in the triangle and lost.
I didn't. That way. Bear eyes than me. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. There was a lot going on all at once. There's like little pockets of action. Yeah, but yeah, it's everything going on all over the track at the moment. Denis Santo trying to make a move onto the fellow M-Class car of Matt Pryor. Getting a really good run, looking on the outside, switching to the inside of the start-finish, pulling into the slipstream again. These cars have the strengths and weaknesses in the same place. Neither so great in the straight line, both really, really strong in the corners. So this might be a fair even match, and DeSanto's going to be counting on Pryor making a mistake.
Oh, I think he's hit him.
Yeah, there's a little bit of very sideways. I thought they were about to hold it, but not quite. And that would be Santo facing backwards in the gravel.
Yeah, it did look for a minute like I think we talked about the last season Alpine's rally heritage, and we nearly saw a prime example of that. Some brilliant piece of car control until the car just snapped away from him there as we move back to Will Stevenson. P7 in class at the minute, and Dos Ramos is really hitting the side of Grim Lilith just in front there. But yeah, I think as we see, this isn't pole position in class. Stevenson had nice and neat around the outside just before the hairpin. May just about struggle to get past side by side going out of the exit there, but I think Stevenson should have the exit as much as what do you call it? Like the Mercedes is going to be faster in a straight line, Austin. I think the Chevrolet's a lot faster through the corners.
That's it. And Chevrolet is also really, really quick on corner exit as well. So yeah, there's a little bits of everything going on all at once. And I mean, the thing to watch, I think, at the moment is going to be Dos Ramos and Grim Lilith, because well, again, two different types of car, two classes of car, and again, it's one of those circumstances of the strengths and weaknesses being in different places, and again, just Dos Ramos trying to extend the lead onto Radu, which at the same time I think Lilith is actually holding them up a little bit, looking at the deltas.
Maybe indeed, but one thing that's not really helping Dos Ramos is every time I look back, he's right up the back of the 115, and he's just giving them little taps through the bits where the Alpine's faster. Really sure that's what we want to see, but yeah, we haven't really caught any on stream, so we'll just leave it alone as Will Stevenson now just coming up to the back of this pair now. There he is, just in your mirrors, as I think Radu's just spotting little bits where he can try and get ahead, but as far as Radu, I just sit behind Stevenson. He's going to have to get past Dos Ramos, and if we remember from last race when Stevenson overtook, I think it was Pryor, Tom Bryant followed him right through. So sometimes it's just about seeing the gap created by another car and just following them through there. We see a bit of it's still Lilith and Dos Ramos here struggling a bit, but yeah. Austin, I think Stevenson's nearly getting a run on Dos Ramos now.
It certainly seems that way, and very, very tight coming in at this point in time. And again, Stevenson overtaking Dos Ramos will be great for Lilith, because I think Lilith's being a little bit bullied at this point, but Stevenson really kind of taking that opportunity. But maybe not that great for Lilith, actually. Looking at
Radu!
Radu tried to make a move as well, so that is kind of left. Oh, that's aggressive. That was just a little high speed maneuvers, just sort of like just a little bit of a touch on that. So yeah, that was Christian Arias not so sure on that. So no, that'll be one for the stewards, no doubt. But again, just a little bit over exuberant, a little bit aggressive, and that's what happens.
Oh, it'd probably be a bit controversial to get a replay of that, but yeah, Radu looked very, very keen to try and get past before Spoon, even though he has the straight line speed advantage in that Mercedes. But yeah, anyway, what's happened. Radu is now P1 in AM. Still got Tom Bryant just behind him in a different class, but yeah, as we move on to see Heilman and Verstappen now. So this is
for the
vice versa, and for the lead as well of race. Well, vice versa of race 1 and the lead of race 2, Austin.
That's it. That is it. And it goes to show just how close these cars can race. And Suzuka is just great. It's such a good track for this kind of thing. And where it's got kind of technical sections, it also has sections that do bode well for overtaking. Such a challenging track. And that's Hellman looking the outside of 130R. Very, very brave move. Can they Fernando it? I don't think they can. Verstappen bouncing on the inside curb there. Both drivers using a bit of the outside curb, running off the track slightly, going down to the Castro Triangle. And again, I just don't think that gap has really been affected. Hellman yeeting it off of the inside curb. Again, as you said, Phil, the curbs at the Castro Triangle are quite forgiving in terms of track limits, so you can use them to some effect. And well, there's only there's only about 9 minutes of the race remaining, so not long now for Heilman to start thinking about trying to make their move.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Stewie had a bit of quite a bit of grass into 130R, so he prevented him to do the little Fernando maneuver there through that. As we move back to this battle for P4 overall and 4 in class as well for GT4 Pro between Lilith and Stevenson. Grimm's now he's got a guy who's not going to be. I think that's the Camaro's not as extreme in terms of advantage for the technical bits as the Alpine is, but you know, I think Stevenson's demonstrated he's a lot faster than most of the cars around him now. So we'll probably see Stevenson try and make his move, I'd say through sector 1, maybe through the hairpin next lap on Lilith up into P4 maybe. But you know, let's not count our chickens till they're hatched. He's still got what's the leader now? So we've got about 4 laps of racing still to go, Austin.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a fair bit of opportunity coming in, especially when that pace difference is there. Lilith, 10 seconds, 10.68, 6, 7, 8 seconds behind the likes of Galati Good on the podium. So yeah, I mean, Stevenson just tried to find the opportunity. Malcolm with the fastest lap still as well. Yeah, it's just going to be a case of just trying to wait for Lilith to make a mistake and just try to find an opening. But speaking of mistake, that's Stevenson missing that first apex. They've shuffled the car back onto the line fairly efficiently. I say that, but that's understeering again. I'm wondering if they're starting to be affected by dirty air. But you see, you miss one apex, you miss the other, and you're looking at the battle for the lead. That's Malcolm in the dirt just a little bit there, going side by side with the Razor at the same part of the track we saw it once before in the jump cut. So I'm wondering if Malcolm's just getting caught off guard by a Razor on the braking spot for that particular corner.
I think I was just watching this as we were looking, because I've seen on my relative, these two are very, very close to each other. And I think what happened was the Razor just had a bit of a bad exit through the Dunlop curve, so that long left-hander coming up the hill, and that just gave Malcolm enough room or enough of a time to get alongside into Degner 1. But unfortunately, Degner 1 is already difficult enough to overtake someone on the inside, let alone try and overtake someone on the outside, as we move to see another difficult overtake for Will Stevenson, which is Grim Lilith, who is demonstrating to be very difficult to overtake in that BMW, using the straight line speed advantage in his car to full effect to keep Will Stevenson behind. And that is just behind Radu, Austin, Tom Bryant. That is,
and this little fight we saw last race is happening all over again. Christian, are you certain this is race 2? Like, are you sure you haven't showed us race 1 by mistake? Because it's echoing it's echoing it's echoing the same sort of vibes, and that's Radu taking a look on the inside, switching to the outside of 130. Not quite able to make a move on the Camaro. As you said earlier, Phil, Grim, great defending throughout all of this race. I think for all of race 2, Lilith placed that car where they needed to place it, took those extra positions, and has held on to them since. So with another 5 minutes remaining, I'm wondering, can they hold on to it? Can they create that train? And I believe that is also the likes of Gonzalez catching back up as well.
Yeah, I was going to say just a brief update from away from your screen to the minute. Malcolm's really pushing John Eraser for the lead at the minute. Eraser had a bit of a moment coming into the Casio Triangle. I think he missed his braking point. It's already difficult not to spot a braking point into the Casio Triangle, let alone hit it. But yeah, I think Eraser just overshot the chicane. He's had to lift a bit to avoid the track cut penalty through there. So he's obviously he hasn't had his straight line speed advantage that he usually has, and went side by side through turn 1 and 2. But yeah, it's I think not only is Malcolm keeping Eraser honest, but I think he's really keeping Eraser on his toes, and I think he's making Eraser push a little bit harder than Eraser wants to at the minute for this lead.
That's it, just kind of just making it work. And speaking of making a move and making it work, that's Stevenson making it work against Grim Lilith, just taking that position. So again, maybe I cursed a little bit there. We have those kinds of powers here in the box. Lilith holding on to that position for so long, and Stevenson just finding that way around. Dos Ramos with a drive through, and that will be a 1-4 track limit as well. So they are pushing that Alpine to within an inch of what is legally allowed on this track, and has paid that kind of price for it. Kloppelman again, just kind of like running in. That's P1 in the TCX AM class, making a move on Rafael Fuel, or trying to make a move on Rafael Fuel, and going side by side into the first sector. And I think we'll actually maybe be able to make that one stick.
And he should be able to. This isn't, obviously, we're reminded this isn't for class position, but yeah, they're still going side by side. I think he's turning a bit too much on Huel there, but no, I think Dorber's just caught up a bit too fast to all of this. You could just see him nearly make his rear tires go a bit red there. Was Dorber, but some brilliant car control to keep under there. But I was going to point out, Austin, with Klopperman's name. Oh, it's just gone off. I was going to say, can you do the team name as we go back to Radu and Grim Lilith here? Again, I know it sounds like a broken record, but this is just for track position. It's not for position in class. But yeah, these two fairly similar cars, Austin. I think the Mercedes has better top end, and the BMW has better acceleration, but they're definitely cars built for speed, not for this part of the track.
Yeah, I mean, I know the BMW, I believe, is a turbocharged V6.
I've just seen the 69 spread in pit lane again.
Oh no. And that's Dos Ramos with the stop go 30, so they again that. No, it's okay. As I was saying, the BMW Mercedes is the same kind of concept. It's big engine in the front, rear wheel drive, massive body on top. So yeah, it's a bit wallowy in the corners, but very, very strong in the straights. And the BMW very good in the curbs, and from my experience, very good in the wet. But that's not going to help them now. It's Gonzalez taking a really inside line. That was a move. That's what we call in the trade, a move.
He's not quite done yet. I'm not sure if he's been pushed off the track or he's understeered off the track there, but it's one of those things where it's no, it's that Grim. Grim's actually capped his car.
That was crazy. That was crazy. I saw the car go, and Grim caught that incredibly early. I saw the back end wasn't stepping out anymore, but the car was still sliding. I was thinking in the back of my head there was a chance they might get that, and they did. They really pulled that and saved it. And didn't even lose a position. That's insane.
Oh, we're not getting on board. I'm so sad we're not getting on board. Says Tom Bryan passes Radu now, but I'm gonna guess Grim's Oh, I knew Grim was playing Dirt Rally yesterday, so maybe he's had a bit of practice with controlling your car in full opposite lot. But some brilliant car control, to be honest, as we move back to lead. These two still less than half a second between these two at the minute, Austin. But
these guys not giving each other an inch of
yeah.
space. No, maybe it's Dirt Rally. Maybe it's Dirt Rally Phil. Maybe it's Driver 61. Who knows?
Who knows indeed. John Razor still frustrated. He's seen this Porsche just behind him as this is the bit where Malcolm's probably on the last lap now. As you can see, we got 15 seconds left. We're not going to make another lap in 15 seconds unless we're in the world's fastest GT4, but they sadly don't exist. There's a bit of traffic in front. That's Anderson's BMW in front. He shouldn't get in the way of a Razor. These two should be able to get through him. Oh, I think Razor's still behind him. He's hesitated a bit behind Anderson coming into the braking zone for the hairpin there, but Malcolm sadly not close enough to take advantage.
No,
as they come into spoon curve, Austin.
That's it, a little bit of a flash from a race there, a little bit of frustration. Malcolm looking on the inside. That's an opportunity on the inside of Spoon. But again, it's maybe a little bit over exuberant, but covering the inside line as well, preventing the switchback for a Razor. And that'll be Malcolm very cleanly taking that position for P1 at the final lap of the race. So unless the Razor can do something magical coming down into 130 on the Casio Triangle, I think Malcolm might actually have this. But then again, a Razor is catching up, but is it going to be enough? It's almost contact in 130R.
Oh, this is a bit too close for comfort for Malcolm now. He just has to get this bit right. He's found his braking point through the Casio Triangle. I think he's got good at. I think he's just about done this, Austin.
I think so. I think we're in the opposite situation before, where a Razor just isn't quite going to have the legs to take to P1. But that was some series of corners. That's Malcolm coming across the line to take P1, a Razor in P2, Kalatayud in P3. Just wow.
Thoroughly entertaining from Malcolm and a Razor again. Well done for that. Some brilliant piece of driving from Malcolm. But it's not over.
It's not over. We've still got Hellman and Verstappen, who again, Hellman within striking distance of Verstappen here. But again, Verstappen, very, very, very competent driver who will not be easy to get by. And again, one of these drivers, like I was praising Grim before, able to defend the position and place the car in such a way that's not going to make it easy for Hellman to get by, much less make the same move that we just saw Malcolm make on a Razor. So Hellman is going to have to try and bank on 130R and the Casio Triangle if they want the win for this class.
Yeah, you could see in the entry to Spoon Curve just how shallow like Stewie's line was. I'm not sure if he was trying to find a move on Verstappen or something, but we could see Verstappen was going to as far right as he could, opening up the corner. And Stewie trying to find like a way through, but he's a bit too far behind. I think Verstappen, outside of him making an uncharacteristic mistake through the Casio Triangle, we're probably going to see a Verstappen Heilmann first and second here, so you can see just how much of that corner Stewie feeling through there.
Stewie wants it. Stewie's going for it, but Stewie's not going to get it unless something changes big time. Oh wow. A little bit drafty. It couldn't get much closer, but that will be them across the line. And yeah, that's Jackson, and that is also Verstraeten, Jelva Verstraeten there. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much of an order change there. That'll be Jackson coming across the line in P16, which is also that'll be P5 in class, I believe. No real change there. So no, winners of the day being winners of race 2 even being Verstappen and Malcolm, which is maybe a touch unexpected. You know, we knew those guys were going to be. There we go. Yeah. Yes, final race of the season. Yanyo showing the drifting coming out, attempting it again in the BMW. Can we do it? A little bit, kind of, maybe, and coming across the line in P23 overall. So. I mean, that was a race, Phil. What's your opinions?
Oh, I think I've been, both races have been entertaining, but sadly for race 1, this one's been probably more entertaining. But that's not to say first one wasn't just as fun. But yeah, some brilliant driving from lots of people today. Absolutely great driving from Eraser to even like hold off Malcolm for as long as he did. As we can see, Malcolm's pace, fastest lap and stuff. Eraser did have his hands full to try and keep him back. So fair play, and fair play to Malcolm as well for his win. Solid effort as well, and yeah, thoroughly entertaining race.
Yeah, so bit of a breather, bit of post race, but a bit of post race rundown. P1, that's Malcolm. P2, Razor. P3, Kalata Yud. Stevenson in P4, Lilith P5, Bryant P6, Redford P7, Gonzalez P8, Pimlott P9, and Pryor P10, rounding out the top 10 with Gonzalez, Pryor, and Radu being the top three in the AM class of the GT4 cars. Verstappen coming in P1 in the TCX class, Haleman P2, Bodman P3, Daly P4, Jackson P5, and Verstappen in P6, and Edwards P7 as well. So, I mean, a lot to take in there, a lot happening, to not just one races, but two very close qualifying. Phil, do you have a driver of the race?
Driver of the race. Well, I'm sad that I can't have drivers of the race, but yeah, I'm gonna have
It's
to
tough.
take the coward's way and say if I can't award it to more than one person, then I'm not awarding it to anybody. So
Very
yeah,
diplomatic approach. I like it. And honestly, yeah, I have to echo that. I have to be the same. So if you've enjoyed tonight, guys, don't forget you've got Night Owl starting this weekend on the Saturday. You've got Friday Champ for that finale. That's tomorrow night on the channel, so set your reminders for that. Janetta Cup is still running on Monday, and on November the 26th, we've got Bathurst 12 hours. So for me personally, that's the best event of the year. So definitely get around for that. Again, huge thank you for our partners, AK Informatica, who keep the servers going, Driver 61 and the coaching, and their link below in the description, along with the link below in the description for Fanatec as well. Just all together make this possible, and thank you so much. And I think with that, there's a lot to take in, and I mean, wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think everyone's done their bit today to keep us overworked with that commentary, to be honest. But yeah, absolutely brilliant driving from everyone. Non-stop action, but that's usually round once on a Thursday, so let's may it continue.
That is it. And again, one last thing before we go. Check the Discord. Check the link for the Discord description below. I'm looking in the chat now. Mini Simeon, is there a rookie division? I'm happy to tell you, yes, there is. We run splits for everyone of all abilities. So if you want to get your feet wet, join the description, hop in one of the signups, and get yourself involved. Because again, don't miss out. It's an amazing experience, and you can watch this from the other side of things as a driver, as opposed from a spectator as well. So we'd be glad to have you on board. With that, again, these guys kept us in the. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have. We've been on our toes the entire time. I was going to say thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the Friday night, for the Friday Championship finale. I've been Austin. Phil's been Phil. Christian's been shouting in our ears, and we'll see you guys next time.